Hello, folks. Welcome back. We're here again with another podcast, Archeryshack Shop Talk number 35. I'm Jeremy.
I'm TJ.
And we're here to answer questions, talk about this week's stuff, and hopefully entertain you for just a little while.
That is right.
We had an entertaining live feed the other week. Had a crossbow about to blow up. Got it figured out. Did some crossbow questions on the other live feed. But we do a featured product every week. This week, we're going to talk about none other than our own Archeryshack custom bowstrings. ArcheryshackCustomStrings.com. Actually, ArcheryshackStrings.com. What am I talking about? We make strings out of BCY materials, primarily BCY X99 and 454. The differences are the X99 has less Vectran in it. It's a 80-20 mix of 80% Dyneema. I know that don't mean anything to you. Vectran is what makes it not stretch. The 454 has more Vectran, just like 452 did, except for it's got a higher grade Dyneema in it. So it's sort of, we probably do 80% X99 right now and 20% 454. It's hard to say that one's better than another. Most folks that have been hardcore 452 fans have wanted the 454, and we've personally shot X99 on most of our stuff other than what we're testing 454 right now for a couple of years now. So X99 replaced it. We have a discount code for you. If you go to the website archeryshackstrings.com and order a set, at the end it'll ask you if you have any special discount codes. If you put in podcast 15, podcast 15, it'll give you 15% off. So check that out if you need a set. We'll be happy to get them made. We have all the colors they offer. We pre-stretch them to 400 pounds. In some of our other podcasts, we've talked about them, but they get stretched before they get twisted. They're stretched during the twist process, during the serving process, and then after. Then they relax, and then we put them on a 100-pound pneumatic system we have and measure them to the exact factory specs that they give us. For each set, we can do pinstripes, we can do clear serving, we can do colored serving. You can order wax with it. This set here has wax with it. I just grabbed one. You probably can't see it, but for a couple bucks, you can get some wax with it. And it's kind of what keeps us going in the slow season. We sell them all year long, of course, and a lot of people bring in bows, and we use our strings and put them on. And then several years ago, we started selling them online, and that sort of took off pretty well. Got several people that help us here. And anyway, go to archeryshackstrings.com and check them out, and we'll be happy to get you a set and get that 15% off code, podcast15, podcast15.
Yep.
Very cool. We mainly use, I'm trying to think of common questions. We mainly use Halo and 3D serving, some Angel Majesty. We can do, there's a few bucks extra. We can do colored serving. We can do clear serving. We can do a pin stripe, 2 colors with like a double pin in between those 2 main colors. We get a lot of solid color orders recently, a lot of flow green and red and all that.
Flow green and black is probably our biggest seller, probably.
Yeah, lately, definitely. But we have 99.9% of the specs on hand for about any bow. If it's some weird off the wall, something from 20 years ago, we might have to do a little digging, but
yeah,
pretty much anything we've got specs for. But yeah, check it out. Let us know how we can help you with strings, and we can do crossbows, bows, recurves, the whole 9 yards. But that's our featured product, is our own strings. I thought about it, and I was like, we hadn't even talked about that, at least how to order them and all that. So just go in there, a couple clicks. You can use a credit card, you can use PayPal, and generally throughout the year, we're just a couple days behind. I mean, during the busiest of busy season, we might get around around a week behind, but we usually don't get over that even in like the August time frame. So,
well, and it's kind of weird because, I mean, we've been slammed.
I think everybody got that stimulus money, and they went buck wild, because compared to last year, the same week, it's way more orders. It's crazy. So, which is good. We're grateful for that, and I'm hoping, TJ brought it up to me. He was like, I think a lot of people that would have waited until right before the season are sitting at home and going ahead and getting their bow work done, because I don't think we got a spot left to hang a bow back here. We got
My last count, I think we've got 8 hanging up back here for restrings and tuning.
There's all kind of stuff. We got 2 big hanging racks that hold about a dozen apiece, and I see 1 spot left, but people have dropped off bows for arrows and strings and sights and all kinds of crazy stuff. So that's good. That's great. Maybe it'll give us a little bit easier cushion when busy season hits. But anyway, let us know how we can help you. If you're not local and you want to just ship us your whole bow, there's even an option on the website for that. If you click on Super Tune, at the time of recording this, just for a compound bow, it's $160. You ship it to us, pay for it on the website. We have it roundabout, anywhere. It's according to the time of year, but let's just say 2 weeks, and then that's included the return shipping to you. So we get it fixed up, string it, tune it, do the whole 9 yards, send it back to you. We've had a lot of people do that since we started doing these videos, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
But archeryshackstrings.com. I know I've looked through some of the questions, and we got a couple interesting questions for this go round.
Yeah, we do.
So we'll whoop them out, talk about a few other things, and then we'll get off here.
Yep. Our first one comes from YouTube watcher DS Rays. I hope I'm saying that right. He says, I have a Bowtech Realm X, 33 1/4 ATA, 6.5 brace height. I'd like to find a cheaper second bow for practice. He travels away, he travels for work, not at home a whole lot. He said, I looked at 10-year-old bows, but it looks like they are all use a single limb. Mm-hmm. Is there something I should stay away from? Are there older models you think would be good for this purpose? If you can get a so-so used bow for, say, $300 and a pretty good older bow for $400 or $450, he says, I'd probably get the 400 model, but at the same time, don't want to spend the $800 for another Realm X.
Gotcha.
And then he's got another question. I'll go ahead and when tuning, when you would need to adjust cam angle or shim the cams, it would seem to my simple mind you could tune everything with the rest, but that obviously isn't the case.
The first question, the only thing I would definitely stay away from is there were some Bowtech problems from about 2010 with a destroyer up until 2015, 2016, like the RPM time frame, and maybe even a little after. They were popping limbs left and right.
Yeah.
So if you're not the original owner, that would suck to buy one and then have to spend like $200 getting limbs replaced. So be careful.
And if you're not, let's just say you're not brand specific, I mean, you can get some 4 or 5 year old bows. There's some awesome deals out there.
Yeah, any brand. I mean, Matthews, PSC, Hoyt, whatever. I mean, even a guy walked in here today had bought a brand new Hoyt and had a 2015 Nitram that he didn't give me an exact price, but he may be listening because I think he found us on the podcast. But, there's a lot of people buying new bows, and they got an old bow that's just sitting there, and they don't want it, so you can get it for, $300-400 easy. But, yeah, I would think any bow 3-4 years old would be, or according to which one it is, but would be in that price range.
Yeah.
And then on the shimming, like a Bowtech that has the yoke so that you can, if you need to, can kind of lean the cams whichever way. Shimming's not that big of a deal, but on a binary cam, an Elite, some of the Bowtechs have binary stuff to where you can't preload you can't lean that cam one way or another. That's where you pretty much have to shim it if, for whatever reason, the rest. And shimming's not a common thing. It's a 1 out of 50 bows have to do it. You know what I mean? It's usually you do get it out with the rest or with if the cable guard flake moves, lets in and out. There's 100 things to do before you shim it. That's sort of a last resort.
Yeah.
And it don't take much. We had that PSC in here a couple weeks ago. Set the center shot down the center. It was an Evolve 31. Center shot down the center. Some funky stuff. Tried a couple different arrows. Funky stuff. Tried a different rest. Funky stuff. Moved 1/10,000th shim over bullet hole. But it don't have a way to twist yokes. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Anyway.
All right. The next one comes in from 617. This is a good one. I'm getting shafts going all over the place when I try to bare shaft tune. I'm shooting 71-pound Matthews Halon 32 with a 28.5-inch draw, 400 spine, gold tip velocity. One arrow will go right, another will hit the ground, and another will go over the target into my fence. Any suggestions are appreciated.
First of all, I think that arrow's underspined.
Yeah, you probably need to be in about a 350 spine, but I'm not sure on the gold tip.
Yeah, it should, on theirs, would be a 340.
Okay, 340.
That, did he say his arrow length or just his draw length?
He just said draw length.
Gotcha. But yeah, it's probably supposed to be a 340 spine to start with, and doing a bare shaft is already aggravating enough, but with it being underspined, it will go crazy. Second of all, bare shaft tuning, some people love it, some people hate it. I think it's got its place, but your grip placement when you do bare shaft tuning is everything. You know what I mean? You got to be exact from arrow to arrow. But mainly from what I'm reading or hearing is you're shooting an underspined arrow and it's acting weird and it's flexing and going wild. So I'd say play with a 340 and see if it does the same thing. And then if it still does the same thing but it shouldn't, then start playing with your grip, or you're doing something inconsistent. Facial pressure, grip, there could be 1,000 different things, but go to a 340 and try not to kill the neighbor.
Yeah. All right. Next one comes in from the 560. Can I spray paint my arrows for cresting?
Believe it or not, I have tested this a bunch, not recently, but you can, but there's a specific type of paint you have to use. If you just get an old cheap paint from the Walmart, you barely hit the arrow and something, it'll scrape off. I don't remember what paint works. You can probably look online and find some threads about this off Archery Talk. That's how several years ago somebody was wanting me to paint their arrows, and I told them, I was like, listen, I've still got all my dipping stuff, but it is a royal pain in the butt to get all that paint to the right consistency. You put it in the tube, you got to dip them, you got to let them hang. And then if you don't, it's a long story. Like if you really get into dipping and cresting, which I have before, the arrows have got to hang perfectly level, because if they hang off to one side, it'll get thicker as it dries and drips, and then you got to sometimes double dip them. And so spray painting is easy if you figure out which paint to use. And I wish I could remember which paint was the one. It was like one of them with like some sort of an epoxy. I'd have to look back. I mean, I feel like it was like a refrigerator paint or something that had some kind of an epoxy coat in it, but it went on thick and worked. But look on Google it. I hate to tell you, but to do this, but Google and look on Archery Talk. And if I remember right, there were several people asking this question, and there was a common theme of what paint to use, and I can't for the life of me remember what it was, but it does work. And when I did it, I'd just tape off. I'd measure up whatever 8 inches, tape it off, and then just lightly twist it and spray it. Or if you've got a cresting machine, let it spin and just kind of mist it until you get a good cover. And then you could hit it with a little lacquer over the top to try to, seal it and make it a little fancier. But, it's doable.
At least one time we said we used spray paint on something.
Mm-hmm. Break out the cry line.
Yeah. All right. The next one comes in from the 213, and I read this question before, and we had a buddy of ours popped right in my head when I read this. So, but anyway, long story. I bought a pocket press and was tinkering with my Elite Impulse 31. I had taken the draw stops off to mess with the cam, rotation, twist in my cable, and forgot to reinstall them. You know what happens. I drew my bow, and it will not let off. It scared me a good bit. My local shops are closed due to the virus. This is my first time trying anything on my own. I left it at full draw and put it in my closet until I can figure out what to do. Any tips?
Man. What kind of press does he have?
He said a pocket press.
I would honestly try to get that press back. What you're going to have to do is press it, and probably the easiest thing with that type of press is just get some tension off of it and take the cable off, and then press it back down to the right axle to axle and put everything back on it if you feel comfortable doing that. If not, You may ought to just wait. We don't want you to get hurt.
Yeah.
You ought to wait and take it to the shop. But that's what they're going to do. They're going to ultimately press it, unlock those cams. You know, usually I'll just take one side of each cable off, rotate those cams back around, back on, put the string on. You good? Make sure you put the stops back on. It happens more than you think.
Oh yeah.
We had a fella. Got a call on a Sunday, an emergency call at one time, and he was like, "Listen, my wife's holding my phone to my head. I am at full draw, and my bow will not let down." And I was like, "What have you done?" And it's sort of the same story. He bought him a bow press, was fooling with it, didn't put his stops on when he took it out of the press, and bam. And it'll usually sit there at full draw. Now, you're putting a lot of tension. You could warp a cam. There's a bunch of bad stuff that could happen. You know, if it slipped or the string broke or whatever, it could blow up, you know. But if you can get it at a minimum, I would put it in that whatever kind of press you got, like if it's a Bowmaster or whatever, and take the tension off of those cables and let the Bowmaster kind of hold tension until you can get it to the shop. But if you feel semi-comfortable, crank it on down, and you know how to reroute the cables, you know, get those cams back around, get that string back on there, and you'll be good. But
yeah,
worst case, like I say, I don't know that I would just let it sit. I'd probably put that Bowmaster and at least take most of the tension off of them cables.
Yeah.
If you can, or even just unhook the cable and let the whole bow back out, you know. Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah, and we've seen it in the show. I mean, we've had 2 or 3 cases like that in the last couple years.
It's always a doozy. That one guy come in here, and
well, it wasn't technically his fault. I hope this is where you're going with this one. The one where he got the wrong modules.
Yeah.
Okay, and so the guy ended up getting some wrong modules, which he had painted.
Spray painted. Turquoise.
Yeah.
I'm talking thick spray painted.
So there was no numbers or anything that we could see on the modules. So, you know, we put them on there and everything. Well, he goes to draw it, and we hear the famous.
Yep. He's like, this thing's stuck.
So we know the guy real well. So this is why I said this. But he said, what we going to do? I said, well, we're going to open the front door and let you throw your bow out through the yard. That's the best thing I can do.
I hate getting in those situations because, like, when he handed me all that crap spray painted, I wanted, you know what I mean? I wanted to just be like, buddy, let's not even go down this road. And I remember trying to put them things on there and fighting with them, and there was a big gap between the module and the
cable.
Cam, yeah, and everything because there was so much paint on it. There was about 12 things that said no, and I remember I handed it to him. I'm like, listen, this is not a good idea. I don't know what to tell you, but all this you just handed me, I'm not thrilled about. He snatched her on back, click, and it was a dang way past parallel deal at full draw. So
yeah.
We got this thing in the drawboard, and we swing. Luckily, the way that drawboard's built, we swing it over and end up getting it in a press, and it was just a nightmare.
It was.
I mean, we fixed it. We got everything back right, but it. You know, there's certain things you just don't want to do. And but it's like something similar. This fella come in about 2 or 3 hunting seasons ago. I don't remember if he had dry fired or what he had done to his bow. Hunting season literally started the next day. His bottom cam was warped. I'm talking warped ain't the word. It looked like a C. You know what I mean? It was bad. It was a bare bow. And I'm like, buddy, this is not safe. The best thing we can do is either just take the strings off of this thing until you can get parts or whatever. And he told me, he was like, I don't care. He said, I am hunting with this bow tomorrow. He said, take some vice grips and bend that cam back. And I told him, I was like, listen, I'm not going to do that. But I will hook some vice grips to it, and you can bend it back, but I'm not going to be, this thing's going to kill you if you shoot it.
Yeah.
He bends that cam back over, and it looked like, damn, a car run over this whole thing by the time it was done. And I told him, I said, I'm not drawing it. I'm not drawing it on the drawboard. It's together. I would not shoot it. I would not draw it. And he was like, if a deer walks out, I'm going to let her fly one time. And I'm like, well, it ain't going to fly. It's going to blow up, but have at it, buddy.
Yeah.
People like that, I just want to strangle. But anyway.
Yeah, we're not, these are just stories. But like I said, that one guy with the bow, with the modules that were spray painted, he comes in a lot, and we know him real well. So it wasn't like I was being a jerk or anything like that.
Yeah, TJ's like, you might just want to sling that bitch out the front door. We had that happen another time. Oh, my blood still boils just thinking about this. I'm not as bad as I used to be, but I have a pretty big pet peeve about people that want to come behind our counter. You know what I mean? There's people's bows, there's stuff we're in the middle of, and people want to march back here. And I have never been, in my years before I even had a shop or worked in a shop, I would never go behind somebody's counter. I wouldn't go to the Walmart and go behind the jewelry counter or some stupid, anyway. So somebody came behind the counter one time. I had an Elite I was working on. I had just taken it out of the press, and I took the draw stops off to press it in this press, and I had it sitting over here in the vise. I'm out here dealing with another guy, this guy that shows up and decides he's coming behind the counter. I hear the famous click sound, and damn, this thing's got a lot of let off. And I immediately know he's just drawn that bow back that I'm working on. Here we go. So I turned around, and I let him have it. I won't even say what all I said, but long story short, the guy had just bought the bow. I don't remember if I was timing the cams or what, and he left it with me. And I told him, I said, you just bought that, buddy. You might as well. I told him about what TJ did. You might as well open that back door and just let her fly, because this is not going to end well.
Mm-hmm.
And we ended up kind of the same story, getting it at full draw in the freaking bow press. And I was steaming. But anyway, I won't go on my big rant about people behind the counter, but people just march behind the counter like whatever. I don't know. I can't deal with it.
Yeah.
I try not to get as wound up as I used to, but stay your ass on the other side.
All right, let's go to the next question. All right. This one comes in from the 870. My loop has broken 2 times in the middle of the loop in the past 6 months. Do I have a release problem?
Oh yeah, you got a burr.
Yeah.
I know True Fire a couple of years ago I don't remember what model it was, but they had some releases, and them things were eating loops.
Yeah.
So yeah, you need to
take a Q-tip.
Yeah,
if it's
or a cotton ball or
something.
anything, and run it just all over the jaws of the release. Something's going to catch it, and then you're going to have to get something real fine to try to file it down or whatever. I mean, even like an old emery cloth or a steel wool or something, try to get that off of there. But yeah, you definitely got a release problem.
Yeah. Used
to, when the loops became first popular and they had the big block head looking releases, they would eat loops like crazy. But yeah, you need to look at your release.
All right. Jason on Facebook says, can you guys roughly go over arrow spine and what size they fit?
Oh, yeah. Let's see here. Got somebody asking me something on here. Okay. So in general, this is a big general because arrow spine's going to depend on your length of your arrow and the weight you're pulling and your tip weight. That's the main 3 components. But in general, according to what some manufacturers call them a 340 and some are a 350. Like Black Eagle's 350 would be similar to the Easton 340. But if you're an average size Joe, with a 60 to 70 pound pull, you're going to be like a 340 or 350, and a little above that, you're going to be at a 300. Or if you have a longer draw than normal or arrow than normal, you're going to be at a 300. Now I'm just talking about with a 100 grain tip. And then, if you're 55, 60 pounds with a shorter draw, a 27, 28, you can probably fly with a 400. But just look at, really just need to look at whoever's arrow chart you're shooting. And then, like a 500's more geared toward a lady or a kid, 40 pounder or 50 pounder maybe, according to the length. In general, that's just sort of the rule of thumb. But then let's say you're a 29-inch arrow, 70 pounds, but you're shooting a 150 grain tip, then that's probably going to bump you into a 300, because that's going to weaken as that bowstring is pushing that arrow and you got all that weight up front resisting the push, you're going to get more flex and Archer's paradox and all that fun stuff, so you're going to get bumped to like a 300. But if you Google, there's a bunch of spine charts online now. You can Google that. If you're shooting, let's say I'm just throwing out Black Eagle on their website, they got a big chart. You just look at the main thing people mess up is look at your actual arrow length, not your draw length.
Yeah.
because it's according to where you cut the arrow. Some people like cutting them long. Some people like cutting them just in front of the wrist. You know, go by that chart. Use your actual arrow length. Almost any chart's going to be based off of a 100 grain tip.
Yeah.
So then you got to kind of finagle. And if you really want to get technical, it don't cost much at all. Archersadvantage.com, archersadvantageonline.com. Go there. I want to say it's $10-12 a year, and you can go in there and put, all right, I'm shooting these fletchings, this tip, this insert, this knock, this arrow length, and it'll show you exactly what to do to get your spine perfect. It'll have like a green and yellow and red marker, and it'll show you kind of where you're at. And then you can fine tune and say, well, what if I cut my arrow a 1/4 inch longer? And you know, you can fine tune exactly what length you should cut them and all that. So it's pretty fancy, but yeah. And we sell the most of like 350s, you know, that size, because most people's like a 65 to 70 pound bow, and their arrows are 27, 28 inches, whatever. But
I mean, we lost sound, but what I was going to say was, I think Gold Tip, you can go on their website, and I think they've got an actual arrow builder calculator too that you can use.
Yeah.
So that would be something to look into. Just, you know, Gold Tip arrows. They've got that little calculator, and you can play with it. And
yeah, there's a bunch of stuff online now. Somebody had a big plethora of charts, but I can't remember the website.
I can't either.
But
all right. Our next one comes in from Billy on Instagram.
Billy.
A tiny sliver of my limb splintered on the side of my Bowtech. My friend suggested I just peel it off and super glue it. Do you think I will be okay doing that?
It'd be nice to have a picture of it.
Yeah, and to know which Bowtech it was.
I mean, I've seen a very, very, very few bows in the past, and I'm talking about the very, very, very corner. And I say a little piece of limb, I mean a tiny piece would come off, and it didn't seem like it was compromising the limb. But I would say the majority of the time you might want to just go ahead and get you some new limbs to be safe.
Yeah.
You said it was a Bowtech?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
that's why I say I wish I knew what Bowtech it was. That way we could give him.
Some Bowtechs were bad in the past about having limb problems. So if it's one of those models, you know, if it's a couple-year-old Bowtech, you might as well just see if you can get you some new limbs to be safe. Definitely keep an eye on it. You know what I mean? Don't get hurt. But more times than not, you might as well just replace the limbs. I mean, like I say, I've seen a few, and it was on the very, very, very corner of the limb, and I almost wondered if somebody didn't just hit it hard and it took a little splinter out. I don't, splinter ain't even the right word. That splinter's too big. I mean, it was a tiny little piece, but I'd rather be careful than get hurt, so I'd probably just go ahead and try to find some limbs.
Yep. All right. Next one comes in from the 654. My cousin dry fired my bow, and his bow's a mission craze, and ever since it has been hitting about 3 inches to the right. Anything I should check for?
Probably a lot of stuff.
That could be a bent. Well, you think maybe a bent cam?
It could be a bent cam, a bent axle. Lord, I mean, it could even just be the jolt from the dry fire slid the rest over, even though it's tight. You know what I mean? I'd look that thing over top to bottom. I'd look, you know, try to hold it out in front of you, look down the cam, make sure it don't look warped. Try to look at the axle, which is hard to do, but make sure the cam's not sitting crooked. You know, definitely give the limbs a good look, and then look at your center shot, put your arrow in the bow, line the string up dead center of the riser, and then look down without moving at the arrow, see if it's kicked right or left. There's so much stuff that can happen when a bow's dry fired. It could be a ton of different stuff.
Yeah. And depending on what poundage it was set on to, you know, there's a lot of things. But yeah, I would probably suspect a cam or a axle. Or, you know, like I said, maybe as simple as it just knocked the center shot off.
Yeah. It can be a bunch of stuff.
So, and we got our last question comes in from the 864. How much would it cost to get started in bow fishing?
Honestly, pretty cheap. You can go as cheap as finding an old pawn shop bow for $30. You know what I mean? Like a 90s, early 90s, late 80s bow, you know, like 50% let off, big long joker. Put you a drum reel on it and get you an arrow. I mean, you could probably get into it for $75 to $100 going that route. If I didn't get, there's kind of three ways of thinking. That's number one. Two would be to get you a recurve, any recurve, same thing. You could either put a high end reel, and when I say high end, you know, you're looking at around $125 to $150. Or you could put that old drum reel. The drum reel, you know, you're gonna have to manually re-spool it and all that, but it works.
Yep.
And then the other option would be to go straight out and get you a dang, what they call a lever bow, or like an Oneida, or even, you know, now PSC and a bunch of companies make bow fishing specific bows.
Yeah.
You know, and you're looking for a package, you know, $300, $400, $500 according to which one you get. But if you're just out playing, get you a recurve or an old bow and rig it up.
I mean, you could also pick up a Genesis bow and rig it up too. I mean, so you can go anywhere from, let's just say, a minimum of $100 all the way up to, let's just say, what, $600 on a fully decked out rig.
Yep. So not.
Or if you're in the Oneida market, those you're gonna be on up there.
Yeah, some of them are up around $1,000, but that's like highest of high end. Stuff. But
I did not see this, so you're gonna have to inform. But Dudley went to Spot Hog.
I have read that, and I just got on my phone to see what was posted because somebody actually sent that to me.
Because he's been with Sherlock forever.
When I Googled it a while ago, it was funny because somebody said, what happened to him and Sherlock, and they said it was a dud. I am looking on his page right now, but who they said he was now with.
Because we know he made the jump to PSC back in January.
Yep.
And I know he changed camo patterns.
Yep.
I did hear that.
I'm trying to find it where I can verify it.
So, and maybe somebody's playing a late April Fool's joke on us or something.
I don't think, because they.
I mean, I'm just surprised because, like I said, he's been with Sherlock since I can remember.
Well, you know, his thing with Sherlock was he got with them when Steve Gibbs still owned it, and now they're owned by a big conglomerate. And I've noticed he has slowly gotten away from all that conglomerate crap. And the company that Sherlock's owned by now is a bunch of junk. But
who owns them now? I can't even remember.
Faradyne. Yeah. I'm looking. Give me a minute. What I found a while ago was that he is now shooting a Spot Hog, and they were looking at building a sort of a Fast Eddie knock-on model that was going to be badass. So that could be cool, and I think that would be a good thing for both parties.
Yeah. Because I guess we've had this question a ton on the podcast and everything, but the Sherlock carbonic sight that him and Levi was designing.
Yep.
And there was only a handful that made it out.
We're not quite at 5 years, but
we're close.
It's been years since that thing was supposed to come out, and they had one prototype at the show, and I was like, this is badass. I might have to get one. And I've shot Sherlock before it was bought out by Faradyne. And then like a year passed, they still hadn't come out with it. Oh, well, this, that, and other. 2 years passed, 3 years passed, and everybody just gave up on it. You know what I mean? It's like, what are y'all doing here? Dang it, I wish I could find. I can't find on his page anything about it, but I'm just Googling because I don't know any more than.
It may be in one of his podcasts, or
I bet that's. I didn't think about that.
That may be what it's in.
Let's see right here. Let me try to Google it a different way.
But I mean, if he did go to Spot Hog, like I said, that's a pretty big move.
Yeah, that is a big move, and I think it'll do a lot for Spot Hog. You know, you already got like Cameron Haynes and all them shooting them.
Yeah.
And, I can't really find anything about it. We'll have to do some more research, but if it's true, then that's something
big. Yeah.
I hate to bring this up because I'm about tired of talking about it, but coronavirus updates. I don't remember if we knew it last week or not about our total archery down here in the southeast was canceled.
Yep. Man, I'm still ill about that. But I understand.
Yeah.
I understand what they're trying to do, so
They canceled it. They canceled Texas? It was a week or two before it.
Texas is canceled.
And nothing else yet.
Yeah.
I think then it goes to Vermont, then it goes to Pennsylvania. But
yeah.
Still no local tournaments going on, still no much of nothing. So I'm hoping we're getting on the back end of this thing finally. I think around May, people's going to be tired and, all right, let's get this thing going again. But
I really think everybody's already tired about it.
Yeah, I agree.
I agree 100%.
But other than that, I don't guess archery-wise, there's still a lot of our companies we order from are closed. Prime is an example.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be glad. We got a bow ordered for a guy, and here we are waiting, and thank God he understands, but it's just a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
Something that should take 2 or 3 weeks. We're going on, a month and a half or something better than that.
Shoot, I think we're going on about 2 months now because it was supposed to ship out. I think it was the week after that they closed down.
Gotcha.
I think is what, from my understanding of what we were told, was if they wouldn't have shut down, his bow would have shipped and it would have been here on time of the time frame we told the guy.
Gotcha.
So now, but like I said, it's not anybody's fault. So
yeah, it just sucks.
It does. I know he'll call about every 2 or 3 weeks and any word, I'm like, well, bad news.
That was our main one that got caught up in the middle of it. Everybody else afterwards, we've been able to say, just hold your horses. We can't really get anything. Let's just wait till they get back open. But anyway, at least we got a good many on the wall. And come on in if you're local and spend that stimuli. Get you a bow or a target or whatever you need. But I've been impressed by how many people have been coming in.
And be sure to ask for Jackie.
Yeah. Get old Jackie up there. Old grumpy self. The giveaway. That's what I was going to talk about. If you listen to our Thursday night live feed, we're giving away a little Buzz Killer stabilizer on this coming Thursday's feed. And it'll be on Thursday at 6:30 on YouTube. Get on there. And at the end of we usually keep them short. We went a little long last time because people was asking questions, and that was good.
Yeah, we appreciate it. We like to
interact.
Yeah.
But we're going to give away that stabilizer at the end of it. Same thing. You get on there, you comment a number. We pick a number. We do a random number thing on the computer, and it picks a number at the end, and we ship it out to you. So get on there, check us out, give us some stuff to talk about. It's neat because it's almost like a conversation on Thursday nights. We have a little.
It is.
We have a little something we do, but then we get on there and just kind of talk to everybody. So check it out. Thursday night, 6:30.
And we do have some rants and everything, like about my dadgum experience with trying to get a trailer to go get a lawnmower.
It was great. And then, of course, the podcast comes out. Last week was weird. We had tornadoes come through. Power was out. Internet was out. I had to use my mobile phone signal to try to get the podcast uploaded on YouTube. And I didn't think it was going to make it. And it finally did right before it was supposed to come out. And then the audio version didn't end up showing up till Wednesday, so that was a little different. But for the most part, Tuesday mornings we have the podcast come out, Thursday evening 6:30 live feed, and then Sunday evenings at 9 we have a video. This week, or actually it'll be last week when you hear this, we've got a Hoyt video, and we've got a good number of bows to restring and some tuning stuff. So I'm gonna I needed to spend a whole day of us filming bow stuff, and we'll have some more stuff coming out. But tune into those. Hit the old subscribe button if you hadn't already. We're trying to give away some stuff every week or two. Try to talk about stuff. If you have questions, the way we get questions for this podcast is a lot of people seem to text them in, and the number to do that is 843-560-9898. Text me, tell me your question. You can also email TJ at archershack.com. Type it in there. You can also just The easiest way to me would be just comment it on the YouTube video. And
Yeah.
we'll look. We try to look before we go live on the next one or record it, see what people said. But
Yeah, and if we miss a question, or something, I'll go back and look at some of the other podcasts to see if there's any new questions that might have been.
yeah,
Somebody might have commented on an older one. That way we can get it on here, and we don't want to leave nobody out.
but we try to get everybody's question in, and that's sort of what the podcast is: a lot of question and answer, a little bit of product talk and event talk, and then the Thursday night feed, we call it Thursday night tech or whatever. We try to come up with something sort of. We don't want to spend 2 hours doing a full blown, restringing of a bow or something, but like, we've had a crossbow. We dismantled that. We did the crossbow maintenance thing. We've done
bow maintenance
and arrow stuff and all this. So it's fun, and it's like I say, it's almost like a conversation because everybody gets on there and we kind of talk back and forth. And then our Sunday thing is if we had shoots to go to, I'd normally film that and kind of put a little film together of us shooting.
Yeah.
And then we do sometimes a bow review, sometimes a tuning thing, just whatever. So anyway, cool stuff.
Yep.
We will see y'all on the next one. I'm trying to think anything else we need to talk about.
Not that I can think of, because everything, pretty much all our shoots are.
Yeah.
Have you heard anything about if they're going to do any local shoots after all this, or is it pretty much up in the air right now?
It's up in the air. Everything, I know this month has been canceled, so.
Yeah, because, pretty much here locally, we've got
what sucks
2.5 months left.
I was going to say, locally, the springtime is our biggest chunk of shoots because, it's not too hot and not too cold because we're on the verge of, in a month, it'll be quite warm,
Yeah.
We'll be in the 80s and 90s during the day, and people quit wanting to shoot when it gets that hot. So
yeah, we'll still have them here at the shop and everything, but
it's gonna be it's a different year.
Oh yeah,
I don't know. It's just been wild.
Any update on? Or I know ASA, have they switched anything around on theirs? I haven't seen anything.
I had heard they were gonna bump. What was the last one they canceled?
Fort Benning, I think it was.
I think they were going to bump it to the end.
And make it the classic.
I think.
Okay. I had heard that, but then they canceled the other one. What was that?
Texas?
Paris, Texas.
Anyway, so I'll have to get on there and start researching. And in South Carolina, we're, for the most part, shut down until May the 1st is what the governor's got.
Is it May 1st or May 15th?
I can't remember.
I don't know.
So I'm hoping by Memorial Day weekend everything is getting back to normal. I know some of the bigger cities will have trouble, but I think we'll be fine. But we'll update y'all as things happen.
Yep.
Hopefully no more big shoots get canceled. And like I say, tune in on Thursday nights. We're going to keep kind of giving stuff away and doing whatever we can do. That's been kind of fun talking to y'all on there.
Yeah.
So
Been a lot of fun.
we'll see y'all on there. Thank you for watching this thing. Check out our other videos. Hit the subscribe button. Don't laugh at us too hard.
Yeah.
We'll see y'all next time.
Have a good one.
See ya.